I just attended Shiny Conference this week, and a lot of new tools that are being worked on were introduced to interface with LLMs with R and Shiny, like the Elmer package and shinychat. I haven't had a chance to actually try using them yet, so I thought it'd be a fun idea to see if we can build like a statistical consultant chatbot and deploy it to Posit Connect Cloud and kind of see how simple the process is. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go to GitHub and create a new repository right away. I'm going to do this in my business organization account. Open RStudio. Just going to make a new project. Version control, git. Just going to go back to this repo. We'll say create project. So I haven't actually installed any of the packages that we need to use here. So I'm going to do that right away. So the Ellmer package, and the shinychat package. I'm just going to make a new R script and call it app.R, and this is going to be my Shiny app. So I'm going to load my packages. I'm just going to make a simple fluid page layout. So we got some structure up for an app. So I know that a lot of these models require payment subscriptions, but I think Google Gemini has a free tier. And so we're going to go with that one. So as the documentation says here for Ellmer, we're just going to edit our environment variables to add our API key. So let's see if we can actually use the API here. And there we go. So it looks like it's working now. So the next thing we're going to do is figure out the shinychat to get the UI component that will actually give us the chat pane. And you know what? Instead of going with our traditional fluid page, let's just copy what they have there. It'll make it easier for us. to get something started. So we're going to use the bslib package for the fluid page. And looks like the chat UI function is our shiny element that's going to create the interface, providing our chat. Our server is then going to initiate a chat with our model that we chose, and then it's going to stream asynchronously the results from the chat. And as far as this goes, this should basically work, and then once we have the plumbing in place, we'll try to adjust it to the statistical consulting context. All right. But instead of OpenAI, we wanted to use Gemini. And let's just see if this works using this default system prompt and setup they have here. So it looks like it works off the bat with whatever they have in the default. I think the first thing I want to do is try to orient the chatbot to actually be a statistical consultant instead of a trickster who answers in riddles. And so one thing that was very much emphasized about working with LLMs and using the ellmer package and interface is the system prompt being probably the most important thing to kind of get right or adjust and see its behavior. And so basically this is going to set the stage for how your conversations are going to act throughout the whole thing. So you're going to kind of set up the LLM, give them their role and what they should do during the conversation, so that all the chat that comes subsequently from there is actually kind of oriented around this backdrop in your system prompt. And so here's where we want to be descriptive of telling it how we want it to behave, and in our case, be a statistical consultant. And so what I'm actually going to do is not type all of that in here. I'm going to make a new text file where I can just type it all up here, and then I'm just going to import the prompt with my app, so I don't have it necessarily need to have it all hard coded there. I want to say you are a statistical consultant.
We are not necessarily concerned with things like statistical significance or just running tests, unless it is actually relevant to the action or decision point.
Okay, so something like that. Basically, the the person that's going to be talking to this LLM is going to be like a business person or somebody who has a problem they want to solve, and they want to know what they should do from a statistical perspective, but they're not just looking for tests to run or things like that, but an actual statistical problem solving strategy. And so what we're going to do here then in our application is then we're going to import that system prompt. You can look here and it has it all. And one thing I want to check is if the system prompt can be a list or a vector. Maybe we'll just see. So now let's see what happens here. Run our app. Type symbol is not subsettable. So I wonder if the system prompt needs to just be a single character string. So in this case, we can just paste it all together. Try that. Oops. That's probably why it wasn't working. All right, so I just said hello, and it's already talking to me about some statistical stuff I need help with. And so it looks like it's already orienting itself towards being a statistical consultant. So that looks nice. I'm going to add a little bit of stuff to the page just to add a title and things like that to make it look a little nicer. So I don't know why the title's not showing up. Maybe it's something I could figure out later. But it looks like we have an application that's working. And so I'm going to try to go ahead and load this up to Posit Connect Cloud and deploy it there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just send this thing to GitHub. Just say version 1. Push it there. Go back to GitHub and reload our repo. We can see it's all here. And we're just going to go to Posit Connect Cloud. So if you're not familiar with Posit Connect Cloud, it's a cloud platform that we can really easily deploy Shiny applications and Quarto documents and R Markdown and all kinds of Python applications and stuff like that. So Posit really made it simple for you to be able to deploy stuff here for free. And so if we log in, I just link with my GitHub account. So you get this sort of public profile that you kind of have your repository of documents, applications, and so I have a ton of things up right now. So I'm just using the free account right now, and so you can add up to 5 applications, unlimited documents. So you have some compute restrictions and things like that. But then you can do the basic plan or the enhanced plan, and then they start getting into private link sharing, and the ability to deploy from private GitHub repositories. Going back to my profile, I probably already have, I have 5 Shiny applications running right now. So I'm probably going to need to delete one. So I'll just delete this one. All right. So I'm going to hit this publish button, and I want to publish a Shiny app. And there's actually one thing that I forgot that I needed to do back in R. So we have to set our environment for Posit Connect Cloud to understand all of our dependencies and everything to configure our application. And so we have to run this write manifest function once we've made all of our changes and built our app, and run this. It's going to capture all of our dependencies so that Posit Connect Cloud can actually use that. All right, so since I'm linked to GitHub, it's automatically going to import some metadata about what repositories are available. Here's our statistical consultant chat one, and it detects the primary file. That's our app.R file. We're going to have it automatically publish on push, so next time I commit changes and push them to the GitHub repo, it's going to automatically update my Shiny application here. Now, the one thing that we have to figure out is going to be the Google API. Before we do that, I just want to see what happens if we just try publishing it. And there we go, we're disconnected from the server. Probably not finding my environment variable that I have stored locally. There. Okay, so it's mimicking my local environment and reading in the environmental variables on Posit Connect Cloud. All right, so looks like our application's deployed. I can start having a conversation with it. We'll just say, I run a manufacturing business. All right, so looks like it's asking some pretty good questions right off the bat. So let's just say, and so it looks like it gives some pretty detailed, interesting results here about what sort of action we should take, and kind of how we might want to frame our analytical question, and analysis, and giving us some actual specific actions to take that someone who's not just technical things, but an actual, like a business leader, they can request sales data from the distributor. That's a good step to take. And then what sort of questions to ask, potentially what sort of tools, and what outcome to look for, and what we might be able to do depending on what we find. So it looks like this is some good stuff happening. So these are things you can do right now. Understand the sales decline, figure out why things are happening, process map. There you go. So it looks like it's suggesting to do some practical things like figure out why sales are declining, and do some things that don't really have to do with doing statistical tests or things like that, but actually trying to just solve the problem, use data where it makes sense, and kind of go from there, which is how I think generally statistics should be used. So this is really cool. We wanted to copy the link to this app and see it here. Now we go to this website, and looks like this thing is available.